92.9 and 96.9 EHM. It's the morning show with Anthony. Very happy to be joined by a special guest in studio here with us. He's the new boss over at the Westhampton Beach Performing Arts Center. Just joined the theater after it was ran by our dear pal Claire for so many years. James Burke is here with us in studio. Thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing to be on camera too, as we're filming all this now. It's the new age.
I'm glad I wore you
look good
and everything.
You look so much better than I do, which is I'm appreciative. At least one of us dressed up for the occasion. I'm good. Thank you for coming in, by the way.
Absolutely.
We had a chance to hang a couple times. Yeah. You're a cool dude. I'm glad we're gonna get to introduce you to the audience.
Thanks, man.
Finally, which is awesome. Before we get into the summer lineup, the spring and summer lineup, which is just great, let's talk a little bit about you.
Great.
What's your social security number? So everybody, what I want to give everybody a background because Claire, like I said, was so beloved. So, like, just for an example, we here at EHM before we ever met you hated you. We're just gonna hate the next person. That's it. It doesn't matter. But then we got to know you, and you actually are a really cool guy. So, and your resume certainly is impressive. Most recently, you were really running the summer stage.
Yeah, it was. My thanks to Claire. Obviously, big shoes to fill. She was with the Westhampton WHBPAC for a decade, and really put the place on the map. So there was a nice transition period where she was giving me some good advice on kind of programming that really thrived out at the center. But yeah, I'm coming from producing the Central Park Summer Stage Festival for 13 years, and that's New York City's largest free performing arts festival. Not only free programs in Central Park, but in 18 other smaller neighborhood parks in all 5 boroughs. So.
And you had to do all that stuff.
Yeah, it was quite a gig. Definitely.
That's tough to book.
Long summers.
When they hand you that blank calendar and they're like, fill it up.
Absolutely.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, but just like I have now at Westhampton WHBPAC, I had a great team behind me. And I never try and do it all alone. It's a very collaborative process. I like to get a lot of input from my whole staff.
Yeah, and you do have the staff over there.
It's great.
Is
phenomenal.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I stepped. Day one, I stepped in ready to roll because they had everything all set up for me.
Yeah, I was there a couple days ago doing my engagement photo shoot. And you guys were nice enough. By the way, let me give everybody a sense of how nice the Westhampton Beach Performing Arts Center people are. You guys have offered Cuddles and I more support than both of our families combined. Okay? Before Claire left, she's like, maybe we'll throw you guys a shower here. I was so floored by that. I'm like, that's so nice of you. Thank you. We didn't do it, but I couldn't have her do it. But she wanted to do it. And then we reached out to you guys the other day and we said, here's what happened. So we get these photographers. They're from Wantagh. They're from Up Island in Wantagh. Mm-hmm. And they said, send us a couple of towns and we'll look at some stuff and we'll tell you maybe where we'll go shoot. So I sent them a list. I sent them like Riverhead, like Westhampton, all the little town areas. And they come back and they go, boy, the Westhampton Beach Performing Art, the marquee is really beautiful. Yeah. I'm like, I know those people. Yeah. So they came up with the idea of why don't see if you can put your names up on the marquee. I said, all right, I'm gonna give them a call. I called over there. Yeah. Jody, answered and hooked us up, and you guys were awesome. Hey. It looked amazing.
Hey, it's always a pleasure to see your name up on the big marquee.
It was crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't had the honor yet, but no, EHM is part of the family, so we're happy to do it for you and Carlos.
I am not this is not a bit, James. You guys have, in those 2 actions, have done more for us than our families have combined. Okay? That's how nice you guys have been. Maybe we'll flash those pictures up, too, of Cuddles and I, because it was really nice, and people were passing by, and they were looking, especially for Cuddles. She's never in the spotlight. It was like a moment for her. She was super excited.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
She was almost in tears when I told her that we were going to be able to do it. She was just floored. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Let's get back to you. So 13 some odd years at the Central Park Summer Stage, booking that. Yep. What were some of the more exciting shows or memorable shows that you remember now that's passed?
Oh my gosh, we had some pretty crazy shows. We did a lot of world music as part of that festival over the years. So one of the first ever summer stage programs was Lady Smith, Black Mambazo. And then we had Femi Kuti many times over the years. Wow. Lyle Lovett came through, Lucinda Williams, Rufus Wainwright, and I'm mentioning those names specifically because you'll see a connection with my programming philosophy out here on the East End too.
No, that's cool though. You bring a little bit of that out here too. Those are names that we love,
absolutely,
especially out here. What was one of the shows that you did over there that surprised you? That maybe when you booked it, you thought, "Oh, this is going to be good," but when you saw it actually happen, you were like blown away.
Oh man, Manu Chao. In one of my first summers there, we did, they're this French gypsy music band, Manu Chao, indie, to the extreme. And we figured we'd have a pretty good crowd, but we had like 15,000 people show up in Central Park that day.
Wow.
And they knocked it dead.
Really?
That was amazing. One other that really stands out is we did a Vampire Weekend, right before they really hit it big. And we had a huge thunderstorm that day. But the band was totally game to go on with the program, and it was awesome.
Really?
Everyone was getting soaked out in the crowd, and they just cranked it out. Very cool.
Aren't those some of the best concerts I can remember where it's just muddy, wet messes?
Definitely. And we did Arcade Fire in the early days, too, and they were joined during their encore by David Bowie. So not only did we have, Arcade Fire there, and all their zaniness on stage, but David Bowie. It doesn't get any bigger than that for me personally.
How does that happen? Did they know? How did that?
He's a fan. I think they actually connected over French poetry. They started talking about Baudelaire and Verlaine, and I think they made that connection. Like they share some lyrical interests.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you, as being the person in charge of getting them down there, do you know that night that he's showing up, or? Well,
in that case, we heard Arcade Fire during the sound check doing "Bitch," so we didn't know for sure, but that was kind of the first intimation that he might be coming out.
Wow.
So.
Now, are you like backstage when something like that happens?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. In that case,
backstage is one of the coolest places just to hang.
Yeah,
there's been plenty of shows that I've been at Westhampton where I'm just going to stay back here and.
It's true. There's not a bad seat in the house, but I always love to go back by the monitor mixing board and be as close as I can to the artists.
You guys get some people that stop by too, not so much on the stage, but in the audience.
Yeah,
who are like huge names.
Totally.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah, we had a holiday program, Chanticleer, like a vocal choral group, and Roger Waters was in the audience. So you never know.
Where that doesn't happen anywhere else.
It's crazy.
Where Roger Waters just shows up and that's unbelievable. Yeah. It's such a special place. All right, so you did your time in the city, and then you come out here. For you personally, was this something that you wanted to tackle, like getting into a place because it's a special place, but we know about it. It's like our little secret here in Long Island.
Right.
Somebody in Ohio doesn't know about how great this place is.
Right.
So what was your drive to come?
Yeah, well, Westhampton BPAC has a reputation. I mean, folks in the city know it. We had some artists come through, and they were heading out to the East End to play gigs as part of their legs of their tours. And that's I first heard it mentioned probably in 2006. This growing reputation for this intimate venue out in the Hamptons. And, I Googled it one day and kind of checked the programming out. So, when I saw the job posting just about a year ago this time, I had a great run at Summer Stage. I was looking for a change. I got a young family, young kids. So threw my hat into the ring, and it's been great. It's been a really good match, I think, for me personally, definitely, and for the theater too.
Yeah, I think it's been a good match. I got a good feeling the first time we hung out. What was it, over Christmas time?
Yeah, holiday party. You guys came out to.
So I got a good feeling there, and then I started seeing the bookings, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be just fine.
I'm glad to hear
we're gonna be all right. You want to talk about some of the shows? Yeah,
it's booking the summer season. It's part art, part business, and a little bit of luck in terms of putting the whole jigsaw puzzle. These are busy artists putting their tours together. So, I just rolled up my sleeves from day one, got the whole team together, got a lot of input, got some input from the community along Main Street in the village, and really tried to mix it up, do some classic rock and bring in some younger artists too, some emerging artists that would, bring a new audience base out as well.
How do you, let me ask you this, because people ask me this all the time, and my answer is always the same. I just copied Lauren Stone's iPod. But how do you, because it's impressive to get Vampire Weekend, Arcade Fire before they're huge.
Yeah.
How do you what's your secret? How do you finding out about these bands?
In a word, I'd say interns. Yeah. If it's similar to if you think you're the smartest guy in the room, you're not. If you think you're the hippest guy in the room, you're not. You need that. You need those young years, kind of telling you what's up and coming. Definitely, that's a big part of it. And you book the artists through management companies and agencies, and you develop really strong relationships with real people, and they give you the heads up. They're like, hey, Vampire Weekend, this band's gonna be big, and you check it out. You go to conferences. You go out and see a lot of live music, and you know it's gonna mix.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's I like hearing stuff like this because as a layperson like I am in the audiences, we just come to the shows and we're just like, all right, here's the show, and we have no idea the amount of work that goes into it. Yeah. If I told the audience how many people work at the PAC, they would probably be stunned because you think to yourself, I don't know, like 4 people put it together. Like, no, it's like a big, it's a bigger deal than that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Not big enough, the staff. That's for sure. It's it's a lot. It's by the time the audience is seeing the program, you've worked through the whole contracting, the scouting process, the contracting, the marketing, all the financial side of things, and then you're doing sound checks all day long. Then that's when you're really beefing up with staff. You might have security. You got all your volunteer ushers there. I mean, our volunteers do an amazing job. It's kind of fascinating when all those pieces kind of come together.
I know I want to get to the lineup here, but I got so many questions for you. What was your biggest heartbreak as far as bookings goes? Maybe you couldn't fit a schedule in, or financially, or whatever over the course of your career. What was an act that you had, but because of something, it never panned out?
Tom Petty.
Oh.
Yeah, would have been huge.
That would
have been huge, but just couldn't make the date work.
Really?
Had everything else in line, but it's tough when you pull the trigger. You're excited to kind of confirm a program, and then sometimes the next day this offer will just come out of the blue, like, oh, can you do Tom Petty on this day? It's like, no, I just booked someone on that day, man.
Man, that stinks.
Yeah.
Do you because I've had the opportunity. I've not turned down, but I've had more missed opportunities with interviews than I've had interviews that connect, because they always come up and always something happens. And there was one that I wanted to do so bad, and it still bugs me to this day. Does it kill you? Do you think about that? Like, oh, I can't believe it.
It bugs you for about 30 seconds, and it's almost like a relief pitcher mentality. You just got to move on, There's always room, there's always another season coming up. So, you'll get that artist down the road. But, it's, for every confirmed program concert that gets put together, you're probably thinking about 10 to 12 different ideas on that date, and sending offer letters out to agents trying to get the bands down. So by the time you get a confirmation, it's a really good feeling.
Yeah,
you've put your work into it.
James Burke, new executive director of the Westhampton Beach Performing Arts Center, is here with us, part of the great crew over there at Westhampton Beach. And I just reminded myself 2 seconds ago something that happened just before Madeline, Peru. Speaking of how great the staff is over there, I ran into Frank, and we had this like wonderful awkward man hug moment, because I don't know if you noticed, but I have the height of a 4th grader. So when I go to hug like normal sized men, I get this weird like my face on their shoulder, like I just like lean on his chest for a little while like a little kid. It was just really awkward moment. I don't think he was ready for it, but it happened. I don't know if you guys spoke about it at all.
No, I'm sure he'll treasure it. Yeah, he's a tall guy. We haven't hugged yet, but if he gets me through this busy summer season, I'll have my cheek in his lapel too, man.
It was just really. I was like, oh, are we going in for the hug? And then we went in, and then my head was resting on his. I don't know. He could have sung me a lullaby though. I would have been in for it. It wouldn't have bothered me whatsoever. James Burke has been with us here on the morning show with Anthony. James, thank you so much for everything, not just the art you bring out here, but for putting Cuddles and I up on the thing. That was huge. So thanks again for that. We'll be back with more right after this. Again, WHBPAC.org. Grab your tickets. Some of these shows are going to go very, very quickly here now that they're on sale, so don't miss out on them. WHBPAC.org, or call the box office 288-1500.